Happy Friday, fellow mystery explorers. Silas Vox, once again on an Enochian adventure. I've banished my temple. I've burned the incense, which I've altered slightly today. I've been just using a straight blend of air incense, but today it's 75% air and 25% earth, because we're going to be going into the earth subangle of the air tablet. I have no idea what to expect. I don't know if this is still entities that deal with healing and this is a subset of that. I have no idea. We're gonna see what happens. Now, since we're working in a sub-quadrangle that is not the native angle, like for air of air you only use one Enochian call, but since I'm going for the earth quadrant of the air tablet, I have to do two different calls, so the ritual will be a little longer. Particularly if I don't get into the vision immediately and have to reread, I'm going to have to read both sets of calls. But I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already know that, or you're just going to have to see what happens. Enough talk. Let's go. Teach me, O Creator of all things, to have correct knowledge and understanding, for your wisdom is all that I desire. Speak your word in my ear, O Creator of all things, and set your wisdom in my heart. Amen. This. Behold, the ring! Lo, this it is. This is it, wherewith all miracles and divine works and wonders were wrought by Solomon. This is it which philosophy dreameth of. This is it which the angels scarce know. This is it, and blessed by his name. Yea, his name be blessed forever. Without this I shall do nothing. Blessed be his name that encompasses all things. Wonders are in him, and his name is wonderful. Pele. His name works wonders from generation to generation. Amen. Behold the layman! As the holy table conciliates heaven and earth, let this layman which I place over my heart conciliate me to the holy table. Amen. Pa, med, drux, fam, ged, graf, drux, med, graf, med, med, gal, ged, drux, pa, drux, tal, fam, don, graf, don, gissig, gon, med, ged, med, graf, van, don, pa, drux, don, drux, med, graf, med, graf, sef, ged, mouse, fam, pa, gon, med, graf, fam, mouse, tal, pa, drux, van, med, gon, drux, pa, med, fam, drux, fam, ged, graf, drux, med, graf, med, gal, ged, drux, pa, drux, tal, fam, don, graf, don, gissig, gon, med, ged, med, graf, van, don, pa, drux, don, drux, med, graf, med, graf, sef, ged, mouse, fam, pa, gon, med, graf, fam, mouse, tal, pa, drux, med, pa, gon, med, graf, fam, mouse, tal, pa, drux, van, med, gon, drux, pa, med, fam, drux, fam, ged, graf, drux, med, graf, med, med, gal, ged, drux, pa, drux, tal, fam, don, graf, don, gissig, gon, med, ged, med, graf, van, don, pa, drux, don, drux, med, graf, med, graf, sef, ged, mouse, fam, Pa gan med graf 5 miles tal pa drax van med gan drax ur. Pa med 5 med drax 5 ged graf drax med graf med or med gal ged drax pa drax tal 5 dan graf dan gisse gan med ged med graf van dan pa drax dan drax med graf med graf sef ged miles 5 pa gan med graf 5 miles tal pa drax van med gan drax ur. Pa med 5 med drax 5 ged graf drax med graf med or med gal ged drax pa drax tal 5 dan graf dan gisse gan med ged med graf van dan pa drax dan drax med graf med graf sef ged miles 5 pa gan med graf 5 miles tal pa drax van med gan drax ur. Pa med 5 med drax 5 ged graf drax med graf med or med gal ged drax pa drax tal 5 dan graf dan gisse gan med ged med graf van dan pa drax dan drax med graf med graf sef ged miles 5 pa gan med graf 5 miles tal pa drax van med gan drax ur. Pa med 5 med drax 5 ged graf drax med graf med or med gal ged drax pa drax tal 5 dan graf dan gisse gan med ged med graf van dan pa drax dan drax med graf med graf sef ged miles 5 pa gan med graf 5 miles tal pa drax van med gan drax ur. Med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf med gan gisik dan van dan med graf med dan med gan dan med gisik van graf. Gales, Gethog, Thauth, Horwin, Ilnon, Ayoth, Galethog, Zafkiel, Zedekiel, Kumael, Raphael, Haniel, Mikael, Gabriel, El, Me, Esse, Iana, Akele, Azdoban, Stimkul, Iller, Dmol, Hioga, Biegia, Stimkul, Esab, Ath, Izad, Ekeye, Madimi, Esemele, An, Ave, Orlibla, Rokle, Hagonel, Ilemes, Sabathiel, Zadkiel, Madimiel, Selemiel, Nogahiel, Korabiel, Lavaniel. Lua, Leng, Sach, Urch, Iad, Moz, Zir, Iad, Bab, Sna, Iad, Sor, Gru, Iad, Ser, Os. Mikma go hop hiad zircumsat alzien biab os londo nors chis orthil gigipa undel chis tap wim ke mosple telok ke ien toltor chis ich sige im ozien dist brigda ad torzil li ol balzarg od alla thirn os neta ab deluga vomsag lonsa kap mi ali vorskla homil kokasib farfen ezizop od me noag deg ni tab wan nana iel Panpir malprigi kasog pil noan unala balt ad vuan do o iap mad go cholor go hus amiran nikma ehe husos ka kom od do o a in noar mika ols a ayom kasarm gohia zakar uniglag od im uamur pugo plapli ananiel kwan Bosmelo ita piripson on naz avab ox kasarm veran chis vigeg dzambramg baltoho goho iad soba miam triantalol sis abiunoin ad azagier rior. Urgil chis dad spa a ox busd kaosgo de chis o di puran teloa kakrig o isalmelman loncho ad voina karbath. Nisso bagle avewago gohon nisso bagle mo mao siaion od mabza iad ois momar poilp nis zimrad siaofi kaosgo od biliors od corsita abramik. Olvinu odzakam, ilsga, ABMO. Od lanch vorsge iad, gohus pugo ils nisso od darbs, dujap, exap. O dujap, oro, iba, eospi. O dujap, bataiva. O dujap, abioro. Ao zaif. Hit morda. Achaeospi. Hip toga. Ad ototar. O dujap. Aiawai. O dujap. O yit. Olvinu al zakam. Ilska. ABMO. Immediately greeted by squares in transit. Like alternating between the arms of the fivefold cross. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. It is essentially in the shape of a swastika, but this arm started like this. And then all these things kind of tick into another direction. It's difficult to explain, but it rests at this state. Colors are mostly grays and whites, black. So not a lot of color. And a hint of light orange, very, very pale orange. ABMO. ABMO. Pronunciation of the name. ABMO. This shape is made up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares. And in each of those squares is another smaller square. It's two-dimensional. I'm not getting much depth in the picture. And yeah, as I said earlier, it is in transit. It starts with this shape, but then shifts into this shape. So the two squares shift from top to bottom, but it's more like a fluid motion. It's not just like a shifting of the two. Like everything seems to move. I don't know. It's bizarre. Kind of irrelevant to the vision. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. Okay. I'm asking, what is your area of expertise? What do you oversee? Dissolution. an alchemical term. The image I'm being given is like a pot boiling, and it's a really sticky, viscous solution. It's boiling and popping like a thick caramel. Boiling that down until it becomes very hard and solid. In continuing in this fashion, that mass that has become solid is being cracked open, and there are little gems or gold little bits inside of it. So it's taking the essence of a thing, boiling it up, condensing it down, and then cracking away all the hard shell that remains until you find just a hint of a kernel of bliss or purity inside of it. It's like taking a huge amount of mass and condensing it into something that is pure and a kernel, but a very small portion of what the original was. Now, how does this relate to us and life and me? The same shards that were broken out of the image in the earlier photo have been planted inside of a human form. It's like a holographic representation of a human body. Little tiny grains of rice. Just thunk, 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 thunk. And these can be overlooked and ignored and not perfected. But what is it? What are they? It's almost like a lattice of connection points that allow the spirit to directly connect to the body. Many points along the body at which this is so, and which can be magnified to allow a more engaging, thorough experience and expression of the spirit through the body. So the image I have now is of the holographic projection of the body, with almost like a ghostly form behind it, attempting to get into sync with it. And the more of these points that are purified, activated, just in a state of working, allow the spirit to anchor itself into the body and to connect. And a lot of people, these are not functioning, or they're broken, or there's only a couple that actually work and are allowed the spirit to actually anchor into the body and have a hold upon it. I ask how my system looks. It's fairly intact. A lot of activity in the hands. Every single finger, every single knuckle, the hand is completely integrated. The throat is heavily integrated. The head, there's a few little grains of rice here and there. shoulders, hip, knee, ankle. The majority of my activated points are in the hands. I don't know if that is just because of the intricacies of that section of the body. The throat and the spine, these things are like stacked. Huh. So how can one develop these centers or improve them? Entering into a meditative state, focusing on certain sections of the body, and feeling the energy flow through each section. As you focus on an individual section, you will be drawn to a section that is more prominent than others, and this is like a meridian, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's a point of concentrated activity. Now I'm being given it almost looks like a wrapped candy or a bow tie, like an image of a sphere with two conical energy vortexes going around them, right? So the energy is sucked in through both vortexes and meets in the middle and forms a sphere. Those actual little points are like the perfect center of that sphere. So, like, for instance, if there was a sphere right here on my arm, there'd be a cone going out here and a cone going out here, and energy flows in and interacts in that section in the center. The trick is to identify these on your body. And if you do a thorough sweep of your consciousness throughout your limbs, your digits, your throat, your head, your back, your stomach, every section that you can visualize, you will find areas that feel weaker than others. And by focusing your intent onto these and to the flow of energy that exists in those sections, you can strengthen the bond. So what is the benefit of strengthening those bonds? What happens? This strengthens the spiritual form and gives it definition. Kind of continuing the thread that was dropped upon us last week with the vehicle that can be created for consciousness to inhabit after the body fails. Like, this is like the nuts and bolts of defining that. So, like, literally focusing on your finger and feeling all the interactions and feeling the way the energy flows and finding those points, those anchorage points. It helps the spirit solidify its essence into like a defining shape that has a border, a boundary, a membrane, I guess is a better term, that can develop strength and can be a proper vehicle to hold consciousness once it projects itself out of the body. Gives it something to anchor into. I suppose that answers that. That's a valid thing to work towards. I'm asking what the state of my etheric body is in, which areas need strengthening. Again, for me, the hands, the head, the neck, the torso are all well defined. It's just below the waist. It doesn't have as much definition as it does on the top. So personally, I need to focus on the lower extremities. What message do you have in general for anyone watching or anyone who hears this? developing a spiritual workout routine is imperative. One can spend their entire existence focusing only on the physical and ignoring the metaphysical, that which transcends 3D space. But this is more important than the 3D space. In this realm, we're given a gift of being able to have limit, to have a defining structure. And so one can use the body as a factory to recreate a defined structure that can then be used to project anywhere into the cosmos, anywhere into inhabited reality. And it's literally traveling at the speed of thought. I'm seeing something that almost resembles like the Nightcrawler in the Marvel movies, if you want to take so crude of a reference. But being here and then thinking oneself here and just immediately just whoosh, whoosh. This can be temporarily achieved through astral projection or willing the consciousness out of the body into the spiritual body and taking the body on journeys. Personally, I've not had luck with this. Admittedly, I haven't tried in a couple of years, so that could be why I'm not successful. I have not tried. And I am being given the answer that yes, this is the case. If I were to put forth the effort, I would succeed. It's just a matter of taking little tiny steps. Like a rubber band almost. Like if it's on pegs, you can take it, and if it's very fresh and very tight, you can only move it a little bit, but eventually you can loosen it up and then eventually fling it off the body. Interesting analogy. The consciousness is so used to being tethered into the physical form that getting it to escape that is not an easy task. It almost becomes crystalled or solidified, especially in the top and in the feet. I mean, this is the connection that we have into the planet, into everything around us. So the boundary is defined at the top and the bottom, and this kind of forms like almost like a crystal anchorage that holds in the spirit. But by practicing movement, one can build momentum enough to get out. And this happens in dream states to a lesser extent, but the actual conscious progression out of the body is a whole other topic. I'm being brought back to the initial vision of the pot boiling the caramel-like substance down into a fine thing that is cracked. Only this time, the substance isn't cracked, it's burned to ash, and there's like gold nuggets in the ash. I don't know significance of this necessarily. I've kind of just been instructed to see it and to say it. This is a metaphor for the impermanence of the physical form, but deep therein, even when the body falls away and fades and is cracked open and falls apart, the kernels still remain. The very boiled down essence of the core is still there. And in some cases, these little nuggets can stay behind and fragment and fall away and join the ash. But through effort, all of these kernels can be retained and transcended and lifted and restructured into what looks like a crystalline. Oh, it's amazing. I'm reminded of Alex Gray's artwork when you look into like how he depicts like a light body or an energetic body, like it almost looks like that. But each of these little grains of golden rice are embedded into that fluid crystal spiritual structure. It's like a living crystal. It's not hard, but just beautifully formed. I'm almost being given a lesson on how to maneuver through space with this body. In keeping with the crystal metaphor, one raises one's vibration and the crystalline structure lattice like reforms and can realign itself, and it is that realignment that allows perception into another reality or another dimension. It's almost like a tone. Now the images of videos that can be found all over the internet of sound being oscillated through a flat plane that has sand upon it, and hitting certain frequencies generates certain, sacred geometrical structures. Much can be said of the vibration in the spirit form. Like reaching a certain tone or matching a certain frequency causes resonance with a certain dimension or plane. I don't think that's the right word, but that's the best I can do. So resonating with that will cause one to appear in it. So finding the right dialed in frequency of wherever it is you want to travel to is a way to do it. I don't know what I can do with this information in this body, but it's interesting to perceive. Please forgive the silence. This vision is just rapidly evolving and moving, and it's not settling on anything, but I'm being shown a lot of interesting pictures. This is interesting. The last kind of scene was like the global structure of the entire planet with like physical crystal outcrops growing in certain points, certain nodes, certain nodules. And these act as an anchor for Earth consciousness. And the crystal is a physical manifestation of the intersect point that the consciousness of the planet actually has in physical place on the planet. I'm not sure if that makes sense. It's just like anchorage points, right? Wherever the consciousness of the planet is anchored into the planet, and there manifests a physical representation in the form of some sort of crystal structure. I've shown individuals of a certain group of people that like are affiliated with each other, sitting on each of these nodes and like forming a kind of a lattice in between themselves, like almost like they can communicate to each other through them. And now the images of like a three-dimensional cube, anchorage points, and energy, information flowing from all the points through. Interesting. It seems to be something that was known in ancient times and is known by fewer and fewer as the eons progress. is utilized to attain a very heightened sense of consciousness. And you can communicate directly with the planet and through that into higher consciousness. Even through other planets. Ooh, I see groups of people, incarnate beings on other planets, linking with this one through the same type of lattice. I have an image of the typical tree of life structure, the 10 Sephiroth. And all these connected through each other. This is fascinating. But again, I don't know what I can do with this information. I'm being shown a group of entities that have tried to use this in the recent past that had ill intent. They were using it to try to take over something or to increase their own personal power for selfish reasons, and it shows them descending into madness, and connecting to this. They do not resonate with the frequency, and the frequency just completely throws them out of balance. They can't maintain. It's like a defensive mechanism built into it. The scope of this is baffling. I'm going to do my best to explain. Okay. Think of how in your body, billions of cells working independently but creating a cohesive whole. So too can this structure function between planets, across planes of existence, extending through the galaxy. Certain beings on the same wavelength, anchoring themselves at certain positions on certain bodies, certain planets, end up forming something greater than themselves, like a being or a structure or something that is greater than themselves, and through that they are able to act on a galactic consciousness level. This is insanity. Trying to wrap my head around this is very difficult. I'm going to ask specifically about the Enochian language and what it can be used for. Finding the true name for an object or something in Enochian, it's like the blueprint of it, like the tone that is created, or the frequency, the vibration of the word is it is the nature of that thing. So even if one had no understanding of an object, if one had the Enochian name of it and understood the Enochian language, one could extrapolate the exact purpose and origin and identity of that object through the breakdown of the Enochian language. I am nowhere near understanding this in my level of the Enochian language. So how can one master the Enochian language? How can one truly learn? through interaction with the tablets, through the breaking down of the angelic names into their component parts. For instance, in this sense, we called ABMO. We could narrow it down and just focus on the A in the name and do an entire ritual dedicated to that one segment of the entire angelic name. But doing this throughout the entire tablet can gain a pisimial structure. Pisimial, I don't even know if that's the right word, if the right pronunciation. It doesn't matter. A portion of it. Taking all these little individual pinpoints and eventually forming a complete and total sphere of understanding by focusing in each individual letter in the tablet, asking for instruction and being given it, meditating upon the lessons learned and extrapolating upon it. That seems like a monumental task, but if one is truly intent on mastering a language, that is an avenue one can access. I really have no further questions. The scope of this has been far beyond what I expected. Unless I delve too deeply into universal mystery, I'm going to thank the entity and dismiss it. Thy name be mighty, O God, which canst open the veil whereby thine all-powerful will may be opened unto men. Power, glory, and honor be unto thee, for thou art the same God of all things, and art life eternal. Amen. Oh, the head change is pretty massive. Oh man, sorry, I'm extremely dizzy. Whew. Alright, I think I can get up now. Well, that was fascinating. That really makes me want to do individual letters and the names just to see if I can learn more about the language and have like a true understanding of it. That's amazing. All right, that's enough for this week. Next week we're going to continue on the same tablet and go down a notch and just keep rolling with it and see what happens and what comes through. This is fun. Do this yourself.